Hello friends, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Why don't you go down and hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any of my episodes. For my fans and subscribers, welcome back. I really appreciate the patronage. Today's topic is the Jehovah's Witnesses and global expansion. Not much else I need to say. Let's get on with the video. When Rutherford died, JWs were banned in many parts of the world. Countries put them in prison and concentration camps. And even in the U.S., witness children were expelled from schools for not saluting the flag. JWs were also persecuted for not fighting for their country. Nathan Knorr was elected to the presidency on January 13, 1942. He was born in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania in 1905 and was raised in the Dutch Reformed Church, but at 16 he joined the Bible Students. In 1923, he became a full-time pioneer and started living at Brooklyn Bethel, where he lived shortly before his death. He became general manager of the New York Society's publishing office no later than 1932, and by 1934 he had been appointed a director of the New York Corporation, and in 1940 he became vice president of the Pennsylvania Corporation. He was a businessman who was rarely kind, and he could be severe with anyone he felt was disloyal. Yet as he aged, he became more of a paternalistic figure. Although lacking in writing ability and charisma, he was an able administrator. Knorr developed a policy in 1942 that all Watchtower literature, books, and articles were to be published anonymously. The policy followed to this day. Even correspondence from the society was depersonalized. This was rather ingenious because it made the community feel that their loyalty was to the organization. Of course, there was another reason. Isn't there always? Since he had no talent as a writer, Knorr would not have been able to gain the prestige of his predecessors in this way. By enacting the policy of anonymous authorship, he could hide his inadequacies in this area. Knorr chose Hayden Cooper Covington, the Society's new legal counsel, as vice president in 1942. He passed the Texas bar exam in 1933, and the following year became a baptized Jehovah's Witness. He was invited to Bethel in 1939 to help fight witness cases in court. He and Knorr frequently argued, and a combination of being overworked and very tense led him to be dismissed with a severe drinking problem in the 1960s. He was later excommunicated and reinstated, dying in 1979. The third figure who would play a very prominent role after Rutherford was Frederick William Franz, who was born on September 12, 1893 in Covington, Kentucky, and initially wanted to be a Presbyterian minister. In 1913, while he was studying at the University of Cincinnati, he became convinced of Watchtower teachings. In 1914, he dropped out of university before completing his junior year to become a pioneer. He was invited to Bethel in 1920, and in 1922 he spoke at Knorr's baptism. By the time he left college, he could read Latin and Greek, and later got a reading knowledge of Hebrew, so he became the Society's foremost exegete. An indication of how authoritarian the society had become was indicated by the Olin-Moyle case. Since I've done an episode on Moyle, I'll just give the basics here. In 1935, Moyle moved to Bethel from Wisconsin with his wife and son to act as legal counsel for freedom of worship cases. He had no serious doctrinal disputes with Rutherford, but he did criticize the president's personal conduct and what he viewed as improper conduct of Bethelites. On July 31st, 1939, he submitted his resignation to Rutherford, wherein he accused the president of being unkind to staff, discriminatory, and using vulgar language. Most witness communities supported Rutherford, going so far as to write that they did not know or cared to know the other side of the story. They accepted, without question, that God was using the organization. This was the kind of loyalty Rutherford and his successors expected. In fact, in 1954, Franz and Covington stated that witnesses must accept even false teachings from the society if they want eternal life. Talk about culty. Knorr wanted to change the witness community, specifically to improve the preaching work, and restored the zone and regional servants. Over time, zone servants became known as circuit overseers, and regional servants as district overseers. In 1946, he instituted semi-annual circuit conventions and 1948 annual district conventions. Local, national, and international conventions had been held under Russell and Rutherford, but under Knorr they became regular and available to more witnesses. Then, in 1943, he established a theocratic ministry school in each congregation and a missionary training school called Gilead. Introducing organizational and educational changes brought other changes as well. Knorr was a bit more PR conscious than Rutherford, so under his watch, witnesses adopted a more sophisticated appearance, including the sale of Beth Serene in 1948. The Awake magazine, which replaced Consolation, abandoned positions that made the society look silly, such as the anti-vaccination stance. Theocratic Ministry School improved individual evangelism efforts, and Gilead graduates added to global witness growth. However, reorganization and the unbelievable proselytizing of the witnesses were not the only things to greatly aid their growth. Political and social issues also aided their growth. For instance, in 1945, when German witnesses came out of Nazi concentration camps, their anti-Nazi position and their promise of living forever on a paradise earth sounded good to many war-weary and starving Germans. Italy pretty much had the same trend, although more dramatically. Unlike in Germany, that had an economic miracle in the 1960s that cooled religious interest, Italy never experienced dramatic economic growth. Therefore, as of the mid-80s, the Italian witness community was still growing. For a time, witnesses were relatively free in Eastern European countries such as Poland and Hungary. Even after the communist ban, After only 5 years of religious freedom, they were numerous enough to gain converts. They even grew in the Soviet Union under terrible persecution. Prior to World War II, this country had very few, close to none, but they suddenly appeared in 1945. Troops that had been converted in German prisoner of war camps brought their faith home with them. However, what was most responsible for this growth was that witnesses were already established in lands that the USSR annexed after the war. Well, friends, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, press the subscribe button, and if you want to know when I come out with new content, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. My Twitter, Discord, email, and PayPal links are in the description, along with the source that I used for this episode. Best way to get hold of me is Twitter, next is email. Also, please leave comments in the comment section. Not only do I love hearing from you, but it also triggers the YouTube algorithm. Keep learning and searching for truth. Here are a few videos from the library. If you have not watched them yet, go ahead and watch them and tell me what you think. Until next time, friends, stay safe and goodbye.